Hey guys, welcome to the stream, everyone. Halloween trivia. So, if you're in Korea, happy Halloween morning and happy Halloween evening for American viewers. I think we're just waiting on one more team to get in. We'll give them a couple of minutes, and after that, we'll get started. If they show up halfway through round one, we can always repeat the questions. Um, but yeah, morning. Yeah, drop some mornings and hellos in the chat. There's everyone. Lovely. I am certainly ready. Hope you're all ready too. What did everyone do for Halloween, or what will everyone be doing for Halloween? What's COVID Halloween look like for you guys? Bubble parties? We're probably just gonna dress up for a little tableau, a little diorama. That's basically our Halloween tradition here. We've kind of stopped the old going out nonsense. All right, and I think our final team has gotten in. They've joined the stream, and everyone should be ready to go now. So we'll be kicking off our Halloween trivia live stream. Happy Halloween, everyone, and let's get things started. So before we get into it, we'll just run through the rounds that we'll be doing tonight. So first up, we're starting classic. Just it's going to be a general knowledge round, but spooky. Everything's going to have a little bit of Halloweeniness to it. The second round, trick or treat sweets. So I'm British. I think most of our players tonight are American, and the candy worlds will collide in this round. British and American candy. Round three, gourd gaffs. We're going to see some hashtag epic fails of the pumpkin variety. The fourth round, costume copycats. So it's all going to be Halloween costume themed. I'm not going to give too much away too early. Then written in the stars, a recurring trivia segment for us. And you're going to just have to assign star ratings to different reviews. Frankenclips. So in this round, we have stitched together completely unrelated clips to form terrifying beasts, and you have to tell us what we've made. Round 7, deadliest match. Nothing to do with Alaskan snow crab. But we're going to be looking at some of slasher movies' greatest villains. And we'll cap off the night with another dose of even spookier general knowledge. Topping and tailing the night with the most classic of all trivia categories, with a slightly spooky twist. All right, so let's get started on round one. So remember, when we're filling in our answers here, don't hit submit until you've got all your answers in. So you can hit the back button to go back and change your answers at any point before you hit submit. But once you hit submit, it's locked in. So make sure you've selected something before you do that. And at the end of the round, you're going to be prompted to enter a magic number to access round two. That's just so people don't get too far ahead. So I'll give you the key number to round two once we've gone through the answers for round one. All right, but first, question one of general knowledge. Halloween is descended from the ancient Celtic festival Samhain. What is the correct spelling of Samhain? Is it Seawionn, Sabhoin, Samhain, or Sahvinn. So that's the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. So this time of year, similarly related to celebrating the dead in the spirit world. Try and think, reach back if you know anything about anything Celtic. That might give you a bit of an advantage. So that's the spelling of Samhain. You should be able to see the 4 options there, and you can just choose whichever one of those you think is correct. Question 2. Slightly the more modern sides of Halloween. From base to tip, so that's from wide end to narrow end. What order do the stripes on a piece of candy corn go? So what order do the stripes go in on a piece of candy corn? So do they go white, yellow, orange, orange, yellow, white, yellow, white, orange, or yellow, orange, white? So I want the first color to be the wide end, all the way to the tip is the last item in the list. And question 3, again related holidays like the Samhain question. It's a Halloween. So Halloween is of course celebrated on October 31st, but on which day does the similar Mexican holiday Dia de Muertos fall? Apologies for pronunciations of Samhain as well. I'm sure I'm messing that up, but Dia de Muertos, the Mexican holiday celebrated around the same time as Halloween, and also about the dead. So is that October 30th, October 31st, November 1st, or November 2nd? So in the same kind of span of time, but whereabouts does it fall? The 4th question in the opening round. This year, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown will not air on American network television for the first time since it first aired in 1966, after the distribution rights were purchased by which online streaming service? So is that Netflix, Apple Plus, Hulu, or Disney Plus? So which online digital streaming service purchased the distribution rights for It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? And the final question in the opening round, question 5. Which of these places would you be most likely to run into a vampire bat? A ruined Aztec human sacrifice altar in Mexico, a creepy vampire's castle in Transylvania, a spooky witches cemetery in Salem, Massachusetts, or in the lair of a fearsome Komodo dragon in Indonesia. So in which of those 4 places would you be most likely to have an encounter with a vampire bat? So just for the benefit of anyone who didn't hear anything, sometimes the stream breaks up, or if anyone joined us late, we'll run through all those questions one more time. Question 1, we were looking for the correct spelling of Samhain, the ancient Celtic festival upon which Halloween is based. For question 2, we were looking for the order of the colored stripes on a piece of candy corn, starting at the wide end, going towards the tip. Question 3, we wanted the date of the Mexican holiday Dia de Muertos. Question 4, we wanted to know the name of the streaming service which purchased the distribution rights for It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And question 5, Which of those 4 places would you be most likely to see a vampire bat? So get those answers in. And we will move on to the second round once those are in. So yeah, just waiting for those to roll in. I think one team's in already. Let us know in the chat. Oh, there's what's happening in the chat? Oh, I see. People are reacting to the news in that question. All right. So yeah, remember to hit submit once you've hit the 5th one. Once you've chosen all your answers, you do need to hit submit as well. Any ideas for couples costumes for me and Jessica tomorrow? Drop them in the chat. So someone's got a question in the chat about sliders with calculated results. We've already got 4 of the teams in, so I think we're just waiting for two more teams to submit, and then we'll go through the answers. All right. Yeah, but yeah. Anyone here gonna dress up for Halloween? And if so, you got anything better than my improvised shirt-o'-lantern? All right, let's have a look now. Two more teams. I think we're waiting to get answers in. So I think we're waiting just on Alice Cooper and oh no, just that's the only team we're waiting on. Okay, so we've almost everyone's got their answers in. Oh, we've got a minor technical error. I'm sure we sorted in no time because I can see the answers coming through that you guys have submitted. Video games and drinks at home. I think that's going to be the situation for a lot of people. Hopefully, horror video games at least. Okay, yeah. So if you got extra fields on the form, ignore those. That was an error. Yeah. So ignore the sliders and just hit submit. So sorry about those of you who saw the extra fields. But yeah, everyone's got their answers in now. Fantastic. Yeah, I think that was just from some last minute edits that we made. But yeah, everyone submitted their answers, so let's go through them. So question 1, typically tricky Gaelic spelling. Samhain is spelled Samhain. Yeah, I mean, Scottish and Irish names. Whoa. what are you gonna do? And I can say that I'm Irish, so. Question 2, candy corn. It's supposed to, like, if you put it all together, it kind of actually looks like an actual corn on the cob. It's supposed to look like actual kernels of corn. So you can see there on the outside of the cob, the widest part is yellow, and then the inside is white, like where the cob would be, and in the middle there's orange, just like real corn. It does look pretty good when it's snagged up like that, though. We never had candy corn in England when I was growing up, so I don't really know what it's like. Question 3, Dia de los Muertos is a Catholic holiday celebrated in most Spanish-speaking countries on November 1st, but the distinctly Mexican Dia de Muertos dropped the loss and moved it to the 2nd of the month to secularize the holiday. So it's the 2nd of November is the answer to that one. a bit of a tricky one. Very similar named holiday on the first. And then this year, yeah, saw a lot of agonized reactions in the comments to this one. It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown will move to Apple Plus streaming this year, along with all the other Peanuts holiday specials. So Thanksgiving and Christmas too. Everything's going to be on Apple Plus. Although apparently they will be like streaming them free to like non-subscribers this first year, but still seems pretty shitty to be honest. And finally, vampire bats are native to Central and South America, so you'd be most likely to run into one in some Aztec ruins. All right, so that's the answers to question one. So we should be able to have a look at a score table to see how things are standing at the moment. I hear you, Michelle. Yeah, screw you, Apple Plus, indeed. All right, so we've got 5 teams with us today, and at the moment we've got in the lead Rachel with 4 points. A few other teams sharing second place at 2 points. And Lil Thulu with the littlest score, but we're just one round in with a 3-point spread, so still anyone's game. All right, so round number 2, trick or treat sweets. So I briefly ran through this earlier in the stream, but okay, so I'm going to give you the magic number in a second. What you'll see is a list of 5 British candies. Some of you may be more or less familiar with British candy, but next to them, you're going to have to match them. You'll have a little drop-down menu and match them with the equivalent American candy. So most of you should be a lot more familiar with the ones you're matching them to. So there are 5 of each, and they all match together. Each of them have a corresponding candy that's either like the exact same product with a different name, or like an extremely similar, like it's the same thing. Like if you had to explain what the American candy was to a British person, you could say, "Oh, it's basically just American candy, like name." So the magic number, let me just check my script to unlock that round, is 701. So you'll see the 5, magic number 701, you'll see the 5 different types of British candy and choose the corresponding American candy for each one. What were your favorite candies when you were kids? I feel like we probably had very different experiences. I think mostly Americans on this stream, and I think a very different selection. We had like penny chews were like a real common thing in England. They're probably like 5p chews or 10p chews now, knowing the way things are going, but they'd be little individually wrapped, so probably not very good for the environment because there's a lot of wax paper. And just like, I guess kind of like Starburst, but you'd buy them loose. You'd buy individual loose like essentially what was Starburst. So they were like 1p each. So as a little kid, I never got pocket money, so my main access to candy was like literally finding coppers on the ground and going to the shop and buying like, oh, I found a 2p and 1p. I can get three fruit salad chews. Or and Jessica hates this, boiled sweets. We call hard candy boiled sweets in England because you have to. I think because you have to boil the sugar syrup to make them. Yeah, so rhubarb and custards were a good boiled sweet. They'd be 1p each as well. All right, let's see. Those answers starting to come through. Still waiting on those. So in America, it's candy like more regional and stuff like that. Like, did your state or city have like a specific regional candy? All the I think all the regional candy makers are all just like owned by a handful of giant companies now anyway, aren't they? Swedish fish. What are they, fish flavor? Or like aquavit? Never eaten most of these, lol. uh yeah, and I guess not everyone's really a candy person. So we definitely went with like candy bars as the main thing because I think that's where there's the most crossover. There's only so many like configurations of like chocolate and nougat and peanuts and caramel that you can have. All right, so I think we've got all everyone's answers in, so we'll run through these quickly. Mounds, as you all know, are a bar of sweetened coconut covered in chocolate, uh, which in the UK is a Bounty. And then we've got kind of a confusing three-way one here. So Milky Way in the UK, it's like a light and fluffy nougat covered in chocolate, which you guys would call Three Musketeers. And what you guys would call a Milky Way, the denser nougat with caramel covered in chocolate, we would call that a Mars bar in England. So that's Whoppers. So what you call Whoppers are little milk malt balls covered in chocolate. So you know a Whopper has malt in. So it's probably easy enough to figure out that Maltesers, the English version. I will say the Milky Way, Mars bar, Three Musketeers, all that they all taste basically the same. Whoppers and Maltesers, it's not the same. Maltesers are better. Like it's the same product, but Maltesers are better. And then finally, 100 grand is chocolate and Rice Krispies and caramel. And that's basically the same thing as a toffee crisp in the UK. So after that, we should be able to see the updated scores. Okay, so Rachel, maintaining her lead. Spooksaws, Alice Cooper, the Gremlins, all just kind of pretty tight. The Rachel's extended her lead somewhat, but still pretty close together. Spooksaws and Alice Cooper tied in second place, just 3 points behind. And let's have a look at round 3. So Gord Gaffs, Squash Scenarios. No, that doesn't work. Gord Gaffs is the better pun. And what we're going to see here are pumpkins that are supposed to look like something. In particular, they're supposed to look like famous figures. So you're going to see these pumpkins that were supposed to look like a recognizable public figure, and they didn't quite pull it off as they may have hoped. And you've just got to type into the box who you think it was supposed to be. So let's have a look at the first one. Oh, we're zoomed in a bit. All right, so who's that pumpkin? So I'd say this is, I would say, in my opinion, this was the easiest one of the round. Although we did run the British edition of this quiz earlier in the week, and some people found this one a bit tricky. Problematic pumpkins. That's what I should have said. Hey, that's a good one. You looking for a job? All right, and let's have a look at pumpkin number 2. Who's that pumpkin? This is the only pumpkin of the evening where we're seeing it unilluminated. We're seeing orange pumpkin with negative space. Makes it a bit harder to read usually. Most of these designs are supposed to be seen lit up, but I still think it's fair to say they didn't quite pull off what they were going for. And pumpkin number 3. This turned out to be one of the real stumpers last time we ran this quiz. It's a hard one, I will say. It's a very difficult one to get, but it's one that when you do see the reference image, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I see what they were doing. I see what they were going for." But yeah, it's not particularly well done, pumpkin. And you should be able to see these pictures as well on the form, so you can look at them at your leisure once we've gone past. Here's pumpkin number 4. Who's this angry chap? Represented in the form of a winter squash. All right, and then we have one final pumpkin to have a look at. They've gone for a similar art style to pumpkin number 4, line drawings, not big blocks. Definitely, it's crude, but I would say recognizable. But yeah, who do you think that is? Get your answers in. It's fascinating to me. Question number 3, pumpkin 3. We get certain answers popping up over and over that are just it's remarkable that a lot of people find that pumpkin looks like certain particular figures that it isn't. It's a real Rorschach test of a pumpkin. Yeah, so people seem to be just absolutely tearing through this one. We've got almost all the teams in already. There we go, everyone's in. So I'm going to start running through the answers. So let's take another look. Scary squashes. I think the Meg's really looking for a copywriting job. Oh, right. Some people had the recaptures there, so we'll leave that a second. All right. So we just need a second to tabulate these scores because we need to go and manually check the. Okay, so they're all in. So the first pumpkin, I think most people got this one. It's Iron Man. I think almost everyone got that. Some people think it's Optimus Prime. I can see why some people have been saying Batman. The little gap where his little widow's peak comes down does make it look like ears. All right, second one. It's, of course, the iconic pose. It's Barack Obama, the reference image, the same photo from the campaign poster, Hope or Change or whatever it was. Then the third one, this is the one that really just gets everyone. It's Ron Burgundy. A lot of people think it's David Bowie and Margaret Thatcher across the British version and American version of this quiz. Everyone thinks it's David Bowie and Margaret Thatcher. I can see David Bowie. The shadow of the face kind of looks like the Aladdin Sane makeup. All right, then this one is Biggie. All right. Yeah, I think they went for a very simple art style there. And then the final round, the final squash, the final pumpkin. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Congrats to because we've done this. This is the second time we've run this quiz, and Team Alice Cooper were the first to get Biggie. That one also. Those two, I think, Ron Burgundy and Biggie both stumped everyone. We had like 10 teams in the last stream, and no one got either of those two. So well done to Alice Cooper. And then the final one, I think most people get this one. Very easily caricaturable face is that young Bieber, early years, long hair, no tattoos, pre-yummy, pre-sorry Bieber. All right. Round 4, costume copycats. So the concept for this round is pretty simple. Scores first, sorry. Forgot to give the scores. Scores update. We want to see how people are doing. All right, so, how things looking? Oh, we've tabulated, we've added up. Rachel still staying out in front. Spooksaw is starting to close the gap. And along with Alice Cooper, so the gap is tightening a little bit. Everyone else hanging in there. Still, it could be a one-round swing for just about any team, apart from Lil Thulu. But who knows how things will look after the intermission. And let's move on to round 4. So the concept for this round is fairly simple. We've all seen those knockoff Halloween costumes where they can't use the trademark names, so they'll get a little bit creative with what they name the costume. So, for example, let's say we told you the costume was called Creepy Husband. You would, of course, know that the real costume was Gomez Addams. That's a little bit of a difficult one. It's obviously all husbands are creepy, so you're not really going to get that. And Gomez is very charming, but it's all stuff in that vein. None of them as hard as that one, I don't think. But we'll start with number 1. I think this round is pretty much starts easy and gets progressively harder round. The first one, Kansas Sweetie. So, what is Kansas Sweetie? What could that possibly be? If I'm not saying these like particularly clearly, just let me know and I'll repeat any of them for you. Okay, then following that, we've got 80s purple musician. 80s purple musician. So if you just type those into some like one of those machine learning like AI things, it would just spit out the correct the correct answer. 80s purple musician, number 2. Number 3 is where it starts to get a little bit more lateral thinky. Hungry rebel girl. So number 3, hungry rebel girl. A lot of people seem to have trouble with my enunciation on that one last time. So I will say slowly and clearly, hungry rebel girl. Number 4, costume number 4 is juice demon. Juice, like what comes out of an orange when you squeeze it, and demon, juice demon. And then the final costume, Lost Adult. Who is Lost Adult? Okay, so I'm gonna read all of those one more time, and then after that, we're going to take a short intermission, so you can get your answers in. And with these ones where you're typing in, we do kind of have to double check because in case our auto scorer missed the correct answer or gave like it can mess up sometimes. So we just have to double check these typed answers. So number one, Kansas Sweetie. Number two, 80s purple musician. Number three, hungry rebel girl. Number four, juice demon. And number five, lost adult. All right, we'll see you after a short intermission.
Tonight, 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 I opened up my eyes. Tonight, 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 I'm wide awake and I'm breaking into. I can't make it. So will you save my life? Tonight, 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 I'm talking in my sleep, and I'm tired of feeling like a secret I can keep. I'm letting it go, I say it. So will you set me free? There's nowhere I can go inside my head. There's no place left to hide where your memory and family end. Tonight, 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 there's nothing left to dream. And this broken lullaby is all that's left to sing. I keep waiting for you, I can't make it without you next to me. Oh no, no, no. Tonight, 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 I opened up my eyes. Tonight, 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 I'm wide awake and
All right, so I think we've got most of the answers in. Yes, I think everyone's in, so we can start running through those. So let's have a look at the first one. So that was Kansas Sweetie. I think one of the easiest ones. Not a lot of things culturally associated with Kansas. It's Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Okay, the second one, 80s purple musician. Who else could it be? It's Prince. Absolutely top quality one. Hungry Rebel Girl. Bit more lateral thinking there. Hungry, like the Hunger Games. Yeah, so that's Katniss Everdeen. The next one, Juice Demon. Beetlejuice. Yeah, he's kind of a demon ghost, same thing, right? And then the final one, Lost Adult. just the Halloween party classic. Has there ever been a Halloween party without Waldo / Wally, as I would call him? Usually multiple. All right, and let's have a look. So that's round 4 done and dusted, and we can move on to the next one, which is Written in the Stars. So the way Written in the Stars works is we look at an online rating. Sometimes it's Yelp, sometimes it's Letterboxd, sometimes, and then this time it's just a Google rating for an attraction. In this case, the skeleton-packed Paris Colosseum, Catacomb. So what you're gonna have to do is I'm gonna read out. Sorry. Okay, let's have a scores update. So they're just gonna get calculated there. They're all entered in. So let's add them up. Things getting a lot tighter at the top. Rachel just holding on to her lead, but it's been narrowed to 1 point. Spooksaws and Alice Cooper hot on her heels. So things could be anywhere after this round. And then bringing up the rear, we've got the Gremlins and Lil Thulu. Okay, so where were we with this round? You're going to hear five reviews that were left, Google reviews of the Paris Catacombs. So very spooky, scary skeletons. And based on the content of the review, you're going to have to tell us where it falls, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. To make things a little bit easier, there will only be one of each star rating. So 1 1-star rating, 1 2-star rating, and so on. So just tell us which one's which based on what the reviewer wrote. So the first review we're going to hear is the first one. Just a bunch of freaking skulls. Just a bunch of freaking skulls. They only wrote it once. I repeated it for effect. Short and sweet, as I find most of the best reviews are. Just a bunch of freaking skulls. Where did they land that in a 5-star rating system? All right. The second one we're going to hear. Interesting place. May God bless the dead. So none of these are going to be too long. Interesting place. May God bless the dead. Where's that on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scale? All right, number 3. A little bit of a longer one. It didn't live up to its expectations. The skulls lining the wall of my hotel room. I also found a decaying finger in soup. There aren't any good restaurants, so I have to eat what they serve there. All around a bad place. Also, the Wi-Fi is bad. Aha, so we see what this comedian has done is review the catacombs as though they were a hotel. Comedy. Okay, number 4. 3 hours to wait in line to see a lot of skulls and femurs in dark, wet tunnels, about 130 steps down a spiral staircase. It was interesting. I would not do it again. I think that's a very good sign off. And then finally, number 5, another very succinct review. A lot of frogs here. Very good. A lot of frogs here. Very good. So if anyone needs any of those repeated, let me know. If not, start getting those in. I've been to Paris. I've never been to the catacombs. We did go to an ossuary, somewhere, a bone room, in Rome, which was pretty creepy. Nowhere on the scale of the Paris catacombs, of course. Millions of skeletons in there. Probably a few dozen monks in the one that we went to. What's the spookiest place you've ever been? If you've been anywhere spookier than a bone room, let us know in the chat. Three teams in already. I think we might have a lead change on our hands. Things getting spicy. Just waiting for one team to get their answers in. Things are gonna get very, very hard fought at the top of the leaderboards after this round, I think. Okay, so everyone's in. I'll run through the answers and then update the scores. So the first one we heard, just a bunch of freaking skulls. I mean, who knows? How into skulls are they? It turns out that they are 1 star into skulls. They were not impressed. Then the next one we heard, interesting place. May God bless the dead. Very even tone. 4 stars they left. The next one we heard after that was the longer one. I'm not going to read the whole thing again, where they reviewed the catacombs as though it were a hotel. And despite giving a very negative review, they did give 2 stars, so it can't have been all bad. Then after that, we heard 3 hours to wait in line to see a lot of skulls and femurs in dark, wet tunnels. It was interesting. I would not do it again. Very even, very balanced. It was interesting. I would not do it again. 3 stars, perfectly in the middle. And finally, a lot of frogs here. Very good. So I guess we will never find out whether they meant amphibians or just the locals. But we do know they left a 5-star review. So whichever it was, they were well into it. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that comment. Yeah, I think just a bunch of freaking skulls does sound like it could be a positive comment, positive review, but it did mean no, you got 1, I think. If I'm looking correctly here, but we'll see. We'll see an update on the scores, how things look after that. But yeah, you didn't do great, and I think that will have led to a lead change. Yes, by just 1 point. The 1 point lead has evaporated and in fact reversed. We have Alice Cooper at the top of the leaderboard for the first time tonight. Rachel is not in the leads. Tied with Spooksaws for 2nd place. Gremlins not too far behind. Lil Thulu bringing up the rear. Still everything to play for. We've still got three rounds left, so everything can change. Especially with our next round, which really is going to exercise a different set of skills in our quizzes. Frankenclips. So we've stitched together terrifying homunculi. What we've done is use short clips of stock footage to assemble movies. Movies is a generous word, or movie titles. So, for example, say we show you a stock image clip, a stock footage clip of a wicker picnic basket, and the second clip is a man walking down the street. What is a horror movie title that could represent? Well, wicker basket, a man, wicker man. It's Wicker Man. So, using similar logic, you're going to try to puzzle together the names of various movies. These are all going to be horror movies, spooky movies. That's your hint for the round. I think you'll kind of once you see the first one, things will become a little more clear what you're supposed to do. So you're going to see several clips in a row. Just think, what could each clip, what could it represent? How do I put these together to make the title of a horror movie? So let's roll that first clip. Right, so we saw 5 clips. Just think, what horror movie title are we spelling out there? So take a second to think about it before we show the next line. Just think, each clip, what are we saying? What are we spelling out? The clips should be available on your on the answer form, so you can re-watch these at your leisure. We'll give you a short break. This round definitely the thinker round, so we'll give you a couple of minutes after we've shown all of them for you to re-watch the clips as you need to and think about what your answers are. But let's see clip number 2. Okay, that one's a little more straightforward. Starting to come together in your minds now. And we'll move on to the third clip. All right, so we're thinking about what are we getting from each of those clips? How can I stitch those together? All right, and clip number 4. My my personal favorite one, number 4, although probably the trickiest one. And then the last one, number 5. Okay, so this round is a bit of a thinker. And we'll give you a second to just a couple of minutes to think about your answers and get them in. So we'll be back in a minute and share the answers then. So we'll give you a little timer when we're running out of time. But other than that, yeah, see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, guys. So if there's any that you think you know the answers to, make sure you've got those in. Um, guess any of them that you might want to guess. But otherwise, you're going to have to hit submit in 30 seconds. We're going to put a counter up. And yeah, just anything you think you might know, get it in. Oh, is everyone in? Yeah, everyone's in. So we're just going to top up those points. All right. So let's see. We can start going through the answers. All right. So let's. I think people did pretty well on those. I think people were freaking out, but I think a lot of people got a lot more than they might have thought. And someone got the hardest one, my personal favorite, which I'm very happy about. Okay, so let's see the first clip. Night. It's a night sky. That's a mare. A female horse is a mare. You turn the light switch on. It's an elm tree, and it's a street. It's a street scene. Nightmare on Elm Street. So that was the little get you familiar with the concept one. The second one, probably the most straightforward. There's some rosemary, and that's a baby. It's the classic Roman Polanski horror movie, Rosemary's Baby. And drag queen. We've got a butcher shop full of meat. Then we've got just the number 2. And very cute depiction of hell. Drag Meat to Hell. Drag Me to Hell is the movie. Sam Raimi, one of his lesser known movies, but a lot of fun. Kind of very campy, demonic possession movie. It's about bulimia. All right. An invasion, a bodice, and some nachos. Invasion, bodice, nachos. Invasion, body snatchers. Invasion of the body snatchers. Bit of a stretch, but yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Either version. Oh, they did there's 3 versions, right? There's a slightly more modern one with Nicole Kidman. Never seen it. All right, and then the last one, cult classic, Ginger, the common aromatic, and Snaps, taking photos with a camera. You're taking some snaps, Ginger Snaps. A classic entry into the lycanthropy as puberty metaphor genre. Yeah, I think people did pretty well in that round. Let's see how the scores stand after that. Let's add everything up, and we still have. Wait, is this with those added on? Yeah, it's still 1 point at the top. Alice Cooper holding on to that 1 point lead, and Rachel and Spooksaws still tied in second place, just 1 point behind. So it starting to look like a 3-horse race with just a couple of rounds left to play. But yeah, otherwise, still mathematically possible for anyone to win. All right, so we're gonna go on to round 7. Deadliest match. So what we're going to do is it's a matching round. You're gonna see the names of five of the most notorious killers in slasher movies, and you have to match them with the number of on-screen kills in their body count. These totals do include remakes and reboots. So the killers that you're gonna have to put in order are the pint-sized terror Chucky, the possessed doll from the Child's Play series. Then we have Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Then Michael Myers, the OG, the granddaddy of them all, from the Halloween series. Then what some might call his knockoff, Jason Voorhees, and Freddy Krueger, the most stylish of the slasher villains from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So Chucky, Leatherface, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Freddy Krueger. So you'll see five different body counts. You have to match them to the slasher movie villain. Oh yeah. So Lil Thulu wrote just "To Hell" for "Drag Me to Hell." So we figured that was worth half a point. All right, so those should be rolling in around now. This could be a problem round. Putting stuff in order. It's one of those ones where you know, if you're off on one, it can like put you off on all the others. So we'll see how people do with this one. What's the best Halloween movie or the best horror movie? I guess those it's kind of like a Venn diagram, right? You've got Halloween movies that aren't really horror movies. You've got horror movies that aren't really Halloween movies. What's your ultimate movie to watch on Halloween though? Other than Halloween, we're not counting Halloween. It's great, but it's too much of an obvious answer. I've had the Vivitch on my hard drive for like 5 years, so I might give that a watch tomorrow once it gets dark. But I do like a good fun Halloween movie as well. Funny Games, Danish or American? I mean, they're the same movie, right? It's the same basic, it's like shot for shot remake. Good answer though. We got some culture people in the chat. We're getting Hanukkah recommendations for Halloween movies. uh, my producer has told me if I want to watch The Vivitch, I'll be watching it alone. I do like a horror comedy, and my producer might watch that with me. The Orphanage, is that the kid with the sack on their head? Is that Del Toro? Or he like produced it or something? All right. So, is everyone in? No, it's still waiting on like two teams. Oh wait, I think maybe I am just a little bit behind. Oh, everyone is in. I just had a couple seconds lag. All right, so that means we can look at those answers. We'll run through together. The score sheet keeps like reloading for me. Okay, so bringing up the rear with only 14 kills is Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface. There's just not as many movies, and he really shares the killing with his whole creepy family, doesn't he? Then in fourth place, surprising to me, Freddy Krueger with 42 kills, who is just pipped to third place by Chucky with 44. Really thought Freddy would have a stronger showing there, but I mean, obviously, we knew he was not going to be messing with the top two. Um, and in second place, it is the original. It's Michael Myers from Halloween. Uh, but some people might uncharitably call the Friday the 13th movies an obvious cash grab knockoff of Halloween. But part of the virtues of that is they do try to go even more over the top than the movies they're copying. So it's Michael Myers with 105 kills and Jason Voorhees with 171. Those movies get pretty crazy. And that takes us up to first we're going to see how that leaves the scoreboard. I think stuff like that can sometimes be a little bit of a randomizer round, so we'll see how things look. And we've had another lead change. This time it's Spooksaws with the 1 point lead, and once again, the second place it's tied, just 1 point behind Alice Cooper and Rachel. So the three teams that really, for most of the night, have been just vying for first place, and it's still so tight, just 1 point in it for the three top teams. So that means it's all going to come down to the final round of general knowledge. So get your thinking caps on, guys. This is really going to be the decider. So more spooky general knowledge and Halloweeny stuff. Question 1. Who was the director of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas? So obviously it's kind of a Christmas movie. It's kind of a Halloween movie. It's largely set in Halloween Town. And the full name of the movie is indeed Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. So was the director Tim Burton, Brad Bird, Nick Park, or Henry Selick? So who was the director of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas? All right, question number 2. In a trick-or-treaty direction, what is the largest candy company in the world by sales? And when we say largest candy company, we're just counting like the candy divisions of these companies. So some of these companies have their fingers in a lot of pies. They sell other things, but we're just looking at candy sales. So the 4 companies are Mars, Nestle, Ferrero, and Haribo. So which of those is the largest candy company in the world by sales? Mars, Nestle, Ferrero, or Haribo? Question 3, spooky spiders. Which species of spider is responsible for the greatest number of human deaths? Is it the black widow, the brown recluse, the Sydney funnel web, or the Brazilian wandering spider? Which of those 4 species of spider is responsible for the greatest number of human deaths? Okay, question 4. Witches have cats, so we've got a cat question. Hairless cats belong to a breed named after which mythical creature? The basilisk, the sphinx, the chimera, or the harpy? Basilisk, sphinx, chimera, or harpy. So that's those hairless cats. You'll have seen them. They're pretty. They show up a lot in like. Didn't didn't Doctor Evil have one? You see him on movies and TV a lot. And our final question of the evening: which of these classic horror novels, I should say novels and novellas, I think at least one of these is technically a novella, which of these classic horror stories was published first? Frankenstein, Dracula, The Invisible Man, or The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? So I'm going to run through those one more time while you're getting your answers in. So, question one: who was the director of Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas? Of those four directors. Question two: which of those is the largest candy company in the world by sales? Question three: which of those species of spider is responsible for the greatest number of human deaths? And that the answer is actually of all spiders, not just those four, of all spiders. Uh, they are responsible for the greatest number of human deaths. Uh, question four: which of those mythical beasts is the name of a breed of hairless cat? And the final one: which of those classic horror stories was published first? All right, and those answers are rolling in already, and I think it should be a pretty good final round for most of you. So while we're waiting for those final scores to be tabulated, I just want to thank everyone who showed up tonight. We're still fairly new, so everyone who shows up to these is much appreciated. And we hope to be able to do many more of these in the future. The plan is at the moment around this time for our American audiences and on Mondays for our British audiences. But tell all your friends it's only $5 to play along, and you get the chance to win a prize. Don't forget that if you're looking for more than just a trivia night like this, we also have our trivia mysteries, which are privately hosted Zoom events for you and your friends. And in those, you use your trivia skills to unearth clues, crack cases, and uncover imposters. So this month's spooky event, well, we're coming to the end of the month, but the event will be running a little bit longer, is a Vampire Hunter, which is an exciting adventure in which you and your friends must foil the schemes of Europe's most notorious vampire, or become one yourself. You can get more info on that at our website. That's triviamystery.com. So trivia mystery, all one word. But I think by now, are all the answers in? Yes, so we can start going through the answers to our final round. So question one, who directed Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas? Well, despite slapping his name all over it, producer Tim Burton neither wrote nor directed the movie. Those credits fell to Caroline Thompson and Henry Selick, respectively. So the director was Henry Selick. Tim Burton came up with the concept. didn't stop him calling it Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, sure, go for it, Tim. Then the largest candy company in the world, Mars beats out Nestle for that. I think there was supposed to be some merger with like Hershey and another company that actually fell through last year, which would have changed that. But no, Mars is the largest candy company in the world. Then spiders. So, despite the Black Widow possessing a more potent venom, the huge fangs, aggressive disposition, and proximity to humans of the Sydney funnel web gives it the highest death toll. Then, question 4. Those bald cats are called Sphinx cats. Sphinxes were like a cat type beast, so were chimeras, but I don't know why they call them Sphinx cats because they don't look like sphinxes. Sphinxes were just like a lion with a human's face. Nothing about being hairless. And then the last one, the first of those stories to be published was Frankenstein back in 1818. The other 3 were all published in the late 1800s, the 1880s and the 1890s. So Frankenstein comfortably a full like 2 or 3 generations published before those. All right, so we can have a look at the final scores. Thank you so much to everyone who showed up. All of you in the chat saying thanks now. Thank you so much. Obviously, our American participants will probably have personal experience with brown recluses and black widows. I think that question was probably more challenging for a British audience. All we have is like the scariest thing we have are wolf spiders, and I don't think they're really that poisonous. So let's have a look at the final standings and see who emerged victorious from that 3-way pileup at the top. And finally pulling away more than a 1-point victory, a decisive victory for Spooksaws. 25 points. Excellent work there. Rachel, who really was controlling the competition for most of the night, in 2nd place. And Alice Cooper in 3rd. Congratulations to our top finishers, and especially to Spooksaws, our champion. Well done, guys, and well done, everyone. You all did great, and thank you for coming. Fantastic work, guys. This was a lot of fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. And don't forget, if you want to come to future trivia live streams, you can follow us on Facebook and check out our website, and follow this YouTube channel as well if you're watching on the YouTube. And don't forget, we've got our privately hosted events as well, which add a little bit of extra flavor to a simple trivia night. All right, happy Halloween, everyone, and hopefully see you all for next week's stream. All right, bye for now.
Tonight, I opened up my eyes. Tonight, I'm wide awake and I'm breaking into. I can't make it. So will you save my life? Tonight, I'm talking in my sleep, and I'm tired of feeling like a secret I can keep. I'm letting it go, I say it. So set me free. There's nowhere I can go inside my head. There's no place left to hide where your memory and family end. Tonight, 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 there's nothing left to dream. And this broken lullaby, it's all that's left to sing. I keep waiting for you, I can't make it without you next to me. Oh no, no, no. Tonight, 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 I opened up my eyes. Tonight, tonight.